It's test 8, section 7, and I sure do hope someone is watching these. Okay, this is a rather lengthy section, unfortunately, so let's get moving on it. In a certain game, points are assigned to every word. Q, X, and Z is worth 4 points. Hold on a second, I'm trying to get my pencil to work. And all the other letters are 1 point. What is the sum of the points assigned to the word exquisite? I would just find the Q, X, and Z's in the word. There's an X and a Q. So they're the only ones worth 5. So we have 5 for the X, a 5 for the Q, and then we count the remaining letters that we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 remaining letters. So the total is 17. So it's B. All right, this one you can just plain solve it algebraically. They're asking for x minus 5. If you're astute at your algebra, you can see if I divide everything by 2 here. There's usually some little trick in these. X minus 5 equals 10. Then we don't have to go back and subtract 5 from it. We can just see that x minus 5 equals 10. I mean, if you want to solve it the long way, you say 2x equals 30, x equals 15, and then you still have to subtract the 5 and get your 10. You'll see they have 15 here to throw you off, so make sure you do what it says. Okay, next page. Whenever it wants to load, that would be awesome. Okay, there we go. If t represents an odd integer, which of the following represents an even? Okay, we've done plenty of these. Just pick an odd number. Pick 3. I try not to pick 1 unless it's, yeah, there's a few cases where you need to pick 1, but I try not to do that. It would work here, I'm sure. So you just put it in until you get one that's even, like 3 plus 2 is 5, and blah, 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 blah. And finally you get down here to 5 times 3 plus 1, and that gives you 16, and that's even, so that's your answer. Unfortunately, you have to try them all out. It's not that hard to plug 3 into something, though. All right, this one's fell off the page a little bit. For the triangles above the perimeter of ABC equals the perimeter of DEF, if ABC is equilateral, so we know all the sides are the same. What's the length of AB? So you add these all up. So we're going to get the area around is 21, perimeter of this one. So you just take 21 if the sides are all the same. We just divide it by 3 and we get 7, and that's your answer. All right. So far, so good. Okay, and the circle above represents all the jeans that were sold by a retail store in 2001 according to their brands. If the store sold 900 pairs of jeans other than brands, other than J, K, L, M, and N, how many jeans did it sell altogether? So altogether is what we're looking for. Altogether, that we'll call that X. So we know that 20% of the total gives us our remaining brand of jeans, which is going to be 900, 20%, the store sold, if the store sold 900 pairs of jeans other than how many, so this would have been 900 here. So it would be 20% of how many would give you 900, and so you just divide and you get 4,500. So 20% of the total would give you 900. That's what this means. If the store sold 900 pairs of jeans other than it, that would be the 900 would go right there. Okay. If there were no waste, how many square yards of carpeting is needed to cover a rectangular floor that's 12 by 18? Okay, here's the tricky part. How many yards? They're giving us in feet. So we have to take and divide both of these by 3 to get it into yards, and so our area is going to be 4 times 6 when we change it into yards, and that's going to be 24. Of course, this is probably the answer if you didn't change it in. If you just took 12 times 18, they have your one that you might pick in there, so the answer is 24. So just make sure you convert. It tells you 1 yard is 3 feet. You know yards, there's going to be less yards than feet, so it's going to get smaller. Okay, next. Okay. scroll up. All right, this is a weird one. I think it's really strange. A certain scale only registers weights that are greater than 6 pounds. A person who wanted to know the weight of the bunny, a kitten, and a puppy weighed them in pairs and got the following results. A kitten and a bunny is 7 pounds, kitten and puppy 8 pounds, bunny and puppy 9 pounds. One time when I did this, I did this problem a couple ways. One way you can do it, and that's always a good thing for you to do, is to try problems different ways. The first way I did it was actually pretty long. I did like a kitten plus a bunny is 7, a kitten plus a puppy is 8, and a bunny plus a puppy is 9. And then I solved them simultaneously. I solved one of them, maybe this one for K, and put it in here, and it was kind of, took me a little bit too much time. But if you'll notice here, a kitten and a bunny weighed 7 pounds, and a kitten and a puppy weighs 8 pounds. That means the puppy weighs 1 more pound than the bunny. So you could say the puppy equals the bunny plus 1, right? Because if the kittens are the same and there's 1 more pound, it means that the puppy was that 1 more pound. And then you go to the end one, it says the bunny and the puppy weighed 9 pounds. Well, the bunny is equal to B, and the puppy is equal to the bunny plus 1, and they totaled 9 pounds. So you solve that, so you get 2 bunnies equals 8, and you get the bunny equals 4. You'll notice they have 4 there because that could be tempting to you. Go back. How much was the weight of the puppy? Well, we talked about the puppy is the bunny plus 1, so the puppy would be 5 pounds. That was a little tricky. I think that's a tricky one for being a number 7 and all. All right, on a blueprint, 1/4 represents 16 feet. There's a lot of these proportions on these SATs. So you have a 1/4 inch, so we could do 0.25, or you could just keep a 1/4 inch, is 16 feet. So on the blueprint, a 1/4 inch is 16 feet. If the driveway is 16 feet, so this is your inches up here, and this is your feet. So just keep your variables and your numbers in the right spots. So if the driveway is 40 feet, that's going to go down here. What is the length of inches? I actually did this. I think it's easier if you work with 1/4 instead of 0.25. So you get 10. If you cross multiply, remember cross multiply in proportions, equals 16x. Whoops, that was bad. Divide by 16, and you get x equals 5/8. And ta-da, there it is. That wasn't too bad, as long as you know how to set up proportions. All right, in the xy coordinate system, P0 is one of the points in the intersection of the graph, and y equals x squared minus, of the graphs, y equals negative x squared plus 9, and y equals x squared minus 9. If p is positive, what is the value of p? All right, this point, if it's the intersection, it means that this point works in both of these equations, in this one and in this one. So this is your x coordinate, this is your y coordinate, just substitute. So I'm going to use this one right here. So y is 0, negative x squared, so that would be p, actually, yeah, equals plus 9. And then I'm going to solve it. We're going to get over here, p squared equals 9, so p equals 3. It would actually be plus or minus 3, but we don't have that, so we're just going to say p equals 3. It would have worked maybe easier if you put it in here. You would say 0 equals p squared minus 9, and you'd say p squared equals 9, and you get the same answer. Okay. Substituting, you just have to know that points stand for x and y, and they go in the equation where the x and y are. The Smiths Metal Company's old machine makes 300 bolts per hour. The new machine makes 400 bolts per hour. If both machines begin running at the same time, how many minutes? They underline that for you. That's very kind of them. Will it take the 2 machines to make 900 bolts? Okay, two different ways to do this one. You could just figure out, you add your bolts together. So you get 400 bolts per minute plus 300 bolts per minute, or per hour. This is hour. Okay, this is way 1. I need more space for this one. So you're going to get 700 bolts per hour. Okay, this is the commonsensical way. If you look over here, this is going to be 2 hours, right? So how many to make 9 bolts? We know it's going to be less than 2 hours, right? because in 1 hour they're going to make 700 volts. In 2 hours they're going to make 1400 volts per hour, right? So it's going to be less than 2 hours, but it's going to be more than 1 hour. So this is going to be your answer. If you want to do this the right way, you have to change your, we have to change them into minutes here. And this is where I don't have enough space. So we're going to get, if we do 400 volts per hour and we change it into minutes, so it's going to be, there's going to be 1 hour in 60 minutes. So it's going to be 7.5 volts per hour. And we're going to do the same thing with the other one. It's 300, I don't know why I did these backwards, volts per hour. And it's going to be 1 hour over 60 minutes is your conversion factor. So it's going to be 5 volts per hour. And we add those up, we're going to get, we're going to make 12.5 volts per hour. And we were making 900 of them, so we're going to take 900 and divide it by 12.5. And it's going to end up being 72 volts per hour. All right, so that's how you're going to get your 72. So you can either do this like an estimating way, or you can do it, this is the purely mathematical way. So you just add them up, and then you have to divide. If you're going to do that many volts per hour, you have to figure out, you have to divide it by 12.5. All right. This one's pretty easy if you understand. This is like a function problem. And these are your values. Remember, this always stands for, this is function notation. You can also write these as y equals 1/2 t plus 1. And where this would be your y and this would be your t. So basically what you're doing is you're going to plug in this, your t, in for these t's right here and see if you get the y value out or the g of t value out. I always start with the 0 one first. Let's just put 0 in, and if it doesn't work, it's out. So put 0 in for t. If I put a 0 in right here for t, I'm going to get 1, and that does not equal 2, so that one's out. Let's put a 0 in for this t, so we get 1. It does not equal 2, so it's out. We put a 0 in for this t, we get 1, which does not equal t, 2, so it's out. We put a 0 in, and it works. If you put a 0 in, it's gone. 2 does equal 2. Don't stop there though, because now we're going to see if another point works. So I'm going to go down and just pick another point. Let's put in 1. Let's go to this point. So if I put a 1 in, it would be -1 plus 2 does not equal 0. So that one's out. So let's go down to the final one. If I put a 0 in for t, I do get 2. Let's make sure another one works. Let's put 1 in. 1 times -2 is -2 plus 2 is 0. So this is our winner. So start with the easiest one, but when you get it, make sure you try a second point and make sure it still works. Okay. Next board. I didn't skip one, did I? We're on 12. All right. I chopped this one off too. This is a very annoying problem. The results of a survey of 16 students at Thompson High School are given in the grid above. It shows the distance to the nearest mile that the students at various grade levels travel to school. According to this grid, which of the following is true? You have to go through all of these until you find the one that's true. All right, so distance to school, and this is the grade. So, for instance, 1 mile, there's a 10th grader that travels 1 mile to school. There are 2 miles to school, there's a 9th grader and an 11th grader. So here we go. There's only one student who travels 2 miles to school. Well, here's 2 miles to school, and there's 2 students, so that one's out. I mean, this really isn't mathematical. Half the students travel less than 4 miles to school. So here's 4 miles. They tell us it's 16, and it's less than 4. So if we count less than 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's not half. So that one's out. More 12th graders than 11th graders travel 6 or more miles to school. Okay, so 6 or more. So it's 2 11th graders, but there's 3 12th graders, and they say more 12th graders than 11th graders. Well, that's true. That one's true. I mean, you could stop there because that's a true answer. The students who travel less than 3 miles to school are all 12th graders. Less than 3, no, that doesn't work. And of all the students who travel 7 or more miles, half are 9th graders. Well, that's not true because there's, how many are there? There's more than 4. So that one's not true. So the answer to this one is C. Alrighty. Whoops, I cut this one off totally. I don't think I can move it at this point. How many positive 3-digit integers have hundreds digits equal to 3? So here we go. We have 100 digits equal 3, and our units digits equal to 4. Okay, that's hundreds digits here. Units digits, when they talk about, that's the ones digits, units digits. How many numbers? Well, you could put a 0 there, a 1 there, a 2. You're going to go the whole way up to 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so there's 10 of those. So there's 10 numbers that you could have there. 304, 314, 324, etc., etc., etc. So there's 10. That one wasn't very mathematical either. Okay. This one's a little tricky. The figure above shows a graph of a line y equals mx plus b, where m and b are constants. Which of the following represents the graph of -3 times the slope plus b? All right. So we can figure out the slope of this line. We see it's negative. We can see the slope. If we do rise over run, we're going to rise 1, run -3. So the slope of this line is -1/3. We want to find the one, we're going to take -3 times the slope. So the slope of the new line, we'll just say slope of the new line is going to be -1/3 times -3. So the slope of the new line is going to be +1. All right, because we're taking this times the slope of this line. So we're going to eliminate all the negative slopes downhill, reading left to right. So he's out. He's out. The other guys are still in. What's the slope? It's going to be rise 1, run 1. So the b is going to stay. It doesn't stay the same. Let's see. Yeah, the b is going to stay the same. It was unaffected by the equation. So this b, y-intercept is -1. So we want the ones with y-intercept of -1. So I can't actually read these very well. This one's definitely out. But let's just check the slope. This one is rise 1, run 3. Well, our new slope new, is 1. So this one, the slope would be, I can't tell, I think this is 1 though. So it'd be 1/3. So that's out. So this is the only one left. The slope is up 1 over 1. The slope is 1. The y-intercept's still -1. So he is our winner. This is a little tricky though when they say this. It's just saying take -3 times this number. All right, little tricky. I mean, they're all a little tricky, I think. Okay, next page. Whoops, I went the wrong direction. Hold on. So we are on 15. This is a really long test. If the volume of a cube is 8, what's the shortest distance from the center to the base? All right, this one's weird. All right, so you have a cube. You guys know I can't draw. So we have a point in the middle. They want to know the volume is 8. So we have to figure out each side. So the volume of a cube is side cubed. So one side, so we're going to 8 equals s cubed. So we know that one side is going to equal 2. So all the sides are 2. We want the distance from the center to the base like that. Well, if the height is 2, this is going to be the middle, so it's going to be 1. Almost feels like a trick question. If this would have been on the last page of the test, it wouldn't have been that easy. But we are on 15, which is still not the most difficult problems. Yeah, that one just felt wrong. All right, what happens to the value if y equals 5x cubed over z? What happens to the value of y when both x and z are doubled? I just pick numbers. So I let x equal 2, y equals 3, or z equals 3. And then I'm going to double them, so I'm going to use 4 and 6. So first thing I put in 2 and 3. So 5 times 2 cubed over 3, and it's going to be 8 times 5 is 40 over 3. Can't be reduced. All right, now I'm going to double them, which is a little harder. 4 times 3, oops, 5 times 3 cubed over 6. Whoops, it's 4 cubed. I don't know where I got that 3. So we're using these numbers now. Instead, I'm putting these numbers in because I'm doubling it. Right, those are doubled. So we're going to get 5 times 64 over 6, which ends up being, let's see, I have calculation somewhere, 320 over 6, which reduces to 160 over 3. So what happened to the value from here to here? It was multiplied by 4. So y is multiplied by 4. I think that's the easiest way to do it. The other way you can do it is you can go 5 times 2x cubed over 2z, and then you work it from there. So that's going to be 2 cubed is 8, so it's going to be 40x over 2z, and you get 20 over xz, and it goes from, whoops, this is cubed. If you compare this and this, you see how it's multiplied by 4? So y is multiplied by 4. Kind of like picking numbers better for that one. It's pretty straightforward. 1 would probably work for that too. Okay, Luke purchased an automobile for $5,000 and the value of the automobile decreased 20% each year. The value in dollars of the automobile from n years from the date of purchase is given by the function v of n equals 500 times 4/5 to the n power. How many years from the date of purchase will the value of the automobile be 3,200? All right. This is telling us in so many years, this is the same years. In this many years, this is going to be the value. So they're saying, they're giving us the value. So they're giving us this. It's the same thing. So we're going to put 3,200 equals 5,000 times 4/5. We have to solve for n, which is kind of the tricky part. We're going to divide both sides by 5,000. And I don't know, maybe this isn't as tricky as it could be. So we're going to get 16 when we reduce this over 25 equals 4/5 to the n power. Actually, this is pretty easy. So you would just raise it, you would just square it. So n equals 2, and so it would be 2 years. So you just have to know where to substitute things for this and reduce and how to look from here to here and see that 4 squared is going to be 16, 5 squared is 25. All right, not horrible. All right, whoops, I keep going to the wrong board here. Okay, last page. This was an exhausting test, really. All right, here's our braiding problem. And I cut this one off too. Gee, you can kind of see it. The figure, the wires are braided. They go from ABC. The outer left wire A is brought over wire B to the middle position, forming the order as shown in step 1. Then the outer wire is brought to the new middle position shown in step 2, and so on, alternately bringing each new left and each new right to the middle, wire to the middle. At what number step does the braid repeat the original order ABC? Now, if you know how to braid, this is much easier, you poor boys. So the start is ABC. Step 1, you bring A to the middle. So basically A and B are just switching places. So you get BA, nothing happens to C. Then we're moving C to the middle. So A and C are basically trading places, but B stays the same. So we repeat that pattern. Now we're going to bring B to the middle. So B and C are going to change places. A is going to stay the same. Then we bring A to the middle, and A and B change places. Let's see if I can fit it all in here. Then we bring C to the middle, and B stays the same. And then finally, we're going to bring this B to the middle. So we get A, B, C. So it takes 6 steps. I know I made that look really easy, and it's kind of a thinking problem, but it just helps if you write out the patterns and you start seeing a pattern. Okay. 19. In a set of 11 different numbers, which of the following cannot affect the median? So I just wrote out 11 different numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I'm going to identify the median. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be 6. This is the median. All right, now if we double every number, does it affect the value of the median? Well, yeah, if we double it, the median is not going to be 6. Right now the median is 6. All right, it's the middle number. If you double it, it would be 12, so that's off. If we increased it by 10, that wouldn't be the same. Okay, what if we just increased the smallest number? Well, what if we increased him and made him a 7? Then the median is no longer 6. The median would now be 7. So that does change it. If you increase the smallest number and it happened to like jump on this side, it would be a problem. If we decrease the largest number, the same thing's going to happen. What if you decreased it by 10 and it jumped down here? Then the median changes again. It would change to 5. So that doesn't work. What if you increased the largest number? What if the 11 became a 12? Well, that doesn't do anything. It doesn't make the median change because it's on the end. So that's your answer. A weird one. All right. According to Tutor Ted, this is the hardest problem in the SAT book. I didn't do it anything like Tutor Ted did it. I like my way better than his, so here we go. Let's try it. This is a hard problem. This is going to take us like 10 minutes. In the figure above, arc SBT is 1/4 of a circle with center R and radius 6. If the length plus the width of the rectangle ABCR is 8, then the perimeter of the shaded region is... Okay, this is not a 30-second problem. This is a really difficult problem for you brainiac people. I don't know if you can guess at this or not. I doubt it. You could probably eliminate 2 answers, I think. I'll show you why. Okay, so we're finding the circumference, not the area. You need to know the formula. Circumference equals 2 pi r. This is 1/4 of a circle, so I'm going to divide it by 4. And that's just going to give us this outer rim right here. So we're going to get circumference equals 2 times pi times 6 divided by 4. I'm really belaboring this point, aren't I? So 12 divided by 4 would be circumference equals 3 pi. So right away, I mean, if you get this far, you can eliminate these 2 guys. Because you see the 3 pi, there's no way you're going to need a 6 pi in there. Okay, now for the tricky part. So we want to get, what we're trying to find here is this, all this right here. Yeah, I'm kind of messing our figure up, making it ugly, but that's what we're trying to find. So we need this area, right? We need that piece, and we need this piece yet, and we need this piece. These are tough pieces to find. All right, let's get back to black. That orange is a killer. All right, so this piece coming down here. Oh no, I can't get black back. There we go. This piece coming right down here. Believe it or not, it's a diagonal of a rectangle. Believe it or not, we know what the distance is because this is the radius going up here, the other diagonal. So diagonals of a rectangle are equal so that we know that this is going to be 6, this distance. Now we still have to find this little piece right here and this little piece right here, and that's the hard part. So far we have 3 pi plus the 6 for the diagonal. So my guess is we could eliminate that guy. All right. So we eliminated, I guess you could take a guess at this point. I don't know. They say if you can eliminate 2 to guess, but it's not very, I don't know if your chances are very good, but whatever. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if I can even explain this. All right. This distance, if this is the width of the rectangle, and this is the length of the rectangle, this distance with the orange arrow is going to be this distance is going to be the oh, how did I say that? Oh, okay. They give us some sides. Wait a minute. How did I get this? Length times width. 6 minus the length, 6 minus the width. Okay. Got it. Okay. This distance here would be 6 because it's the radius of the circle. So this distance right here is going to be 6 minus the width. This distance right here is going to be 6 minus the length. All right? Did you guys see that? This is the length right here of the rectangle. This whole thing is going to be 6 minus the length. Now, I'm going to take, so far I have the perimeters 3 pi plus 6. Then we're going to add the 6 minus the length, and we're going to add the 6 minus the width. because these are this little piece. If this is 6 right here, right? And then I'm going to subtract off this width. So this leftover is 6 minus the width. Now watch how this works. So we get 3 pi plus 18, and then we're going to have minus L minus W. 3 pi plus 18, I'm going to factor out a -1. It's going to be length plus the width. Up here it says the length plus the width is 8. So this is going to be 8. This is like a miracle. So we get 3 pi plus 10. So that is the answer. Ta-da. All right, that's it for section 7 of test number 8.